Greetings, ladies and gentlemen! My name is Mangs, and I welcome you guys to another brand new Let's Play. We are going to be playing Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon, and I recaptured Mecha and put him back in his little cell.
Kill me! No. Just kill me now. No.
Hey.
Just run me right into an enemy and kill me.
Hi guys, it's time for a brand new Mangs and Mecha LP. Are you guys hyped?
Does it new imply you use like new material and new jokes?
No. Those are gonna be the same. Memes as well. But it's a brand new game. Now, I posted a teaser video back on my channel a while back that got people quite riled up. It even got demonetized by YouTube. Like, fuck you, YouTube. What's wrong with a bit of fire? Come on. Like, does Sigurd work at their headquarters or something? Get that? Sigurd joke, fire. Get it?
I really hate those. I really hate those.
I actually hate them myself, but I can't help myself. I have to make them every time. Anyway, so yeah. Mecha is back, and we're going to be playing a brand new Fire Emblem game. This is actually going to be the first time I ever play Shadow Dragon on this channel. So
doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. You suck anyway.
Hey, okay. Anyway, so we are going to be playing Shadow Dragon. Now we were actually discussing a couple of games. So we were stuck between Tracia 776 and Fire Emblem 6. However, Tracia 776 is getting a translation patch made right now, and the people say it's going to be done by Christmas. I don't believe them, but if with the translation patch looming so close, it feels kind of wrong to play the game, because the original translation patch really sucks. So I wanted to wait a little bit until we played it. And Fire Emblem 6, well, I have like 5 Fire Emblem 6 LPs on the channel. People are getting a bit tired of it by now. So I thought, hey, why don't we go and play the one Fire Emblem game that I've yet to play on the channel, and that is Fire Emblem 11, Shadow Dragon. So
V6 is also really fucking long.
It is really fucking long. It's like 60 parts. However, I think we're gonna get around to playing that eventually, but, you know, why don't we play Shadow Dragon? So, Shadow Dragon, Mecha,
it's a good game.
It is.
People don't like it, but that's a good game.
People don't like it. Why don't you think people like it?
I think they don't like the fact that it's a remake of a really old game that some people say it hasn't aged well, but honestly, I think the story works better than FE7's story. It's just the original was written better and it's been improved. And some people don't like the art style, and I'm also not a huge fan of it, but I think I'm okay with it. And I like the gameplay, like the quality of life changes that it's brought to the franchise, like skipping enemy phase.
Yeah.
What else? It has okay animations, I guess. Reclassing is pretty cool. Forging is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
I love being able to
this
forge.
game has an insane forging system, and I must admit, before I started this LP, I actually went through and watched you and Don 0% hard 5 run, just, you know, to refresh myself on the strats. I'll never be able to replicate it, but it does give you some nice ideas. And yes, we are going to
Factory, let's go.
We are going to be playing on Merciless hard 5. I dare say that, you know, if you make a top 5 list of like the toughest things you can do in Fire Emblem, I'm pretty sure Shadow Dragon Merciless at least makes it into that top 5 list. It's pretty tough.
It was the toughest when it came out, for sure.
Yeah, like there's more crazy things like now, like Fire Emblem 12 Reverse Lunatic, Awakening a Lunatic Plus, and I'd even say like Fire Emblem Conquest Lunatic is probably on par. But yeah, this is a tough challenge. Luckily, I have played the shit out of this game. It's actually the first game I played on my DS. I played it for like an entire summer vacation, and I did almost beat Merciless after failing a lot of times. I do know the chapters pretty well, but for whatever reason, I've just never gotten around to playing this game on my channel. I did finish Fire Emblem 12, Heroes of Light and Shadow, and I often say that, you know, that game made me lose the last hair I had on my head, and I think that's probably true. God damn it, that game made me crazy. Holy
that game is so good.
It is a good game, but man, it is a frustrating game. Holy shit. Although I really like it, I have like sort of like a, you know, it's like an abusive relationship, you know?
No,
you keep...
it's not abusive. It loves you.
It did not love me. Maybe you like it, but I do not like getting fucked in the ass by ambush pawns.
It doesn't like bad players. I think that's the problem.
Hey, are you insinuating okay, never mind. Let's just go. So,
what do you think?
Mecha's gonna like this game because it has pretty limited dialogue, no supports. And it pretty much just throws you right into the action. And no, we are not going to be playing the tutorial because hard mode does not include the tutorial. And I'm fine with this because the tutorial is really boring. Although it does include some story elements, but you guys don't need to see that. Let's just jump straight into the story. And here comes Mecha's favorite part, the voice acting.
This game thankfully barely has any dialogue too. It's great.
Long ago, Marius, king of the Dragonkin, conquered the continent of Altea, giving rise to an age of fear and despair for all its people. That tyranny was broken, however, when an unlikely hero intervened. A young man hailing from the Altea region appeared with a divine blade in hand, fang of dragon and blade of light locked in battle, and in the end, blade prevailed.
The art is so cool. I love it.
It is really cool. For some time after, the land enjoyed an age of peace. However, after a century's passing, the Shadow Dragon returned. He forged an alliance with a fiendish sorcerer who sought to rule the world, and their combined might toppled kingdom upon unsuspecting kingdom. Again, darkness threatened to engulf the continents. It fell upon the king of Altea, sole descendant of the Dragon Slayer hero, to sally forth with the divine blade and fulfill his blood destiny. But he was betrayed by his neighbor and ally Gra. That's next game, sorry. And both king and kingdom fell. Altea's Prince Marth escaped the castle and found refuge on the Isle of Talus, but at a dear cost. His sister stayed behind to buy his freedom. Yeah, she literally warps him out, by the way. This is really cool if you watch the anime. And yes, we're gonna be referencing the anime a lot, because I love it.
But Mars...
Chapter 1, Mars Embarks. Marthipan, Prince of Altea, was lucky. Though Dol took from him his kingdom and all but a handful of knights, they could not take his life. Marth lived, and made it to the eastern isle of Talus. Talus was a small border kingdom with no grand order of knights to boast of, but it selflessly gave Marth use of the island's eastern fortress. As he saw the boy shake with anger and grief, he also gave wise counsel. Who's this again? Prince Marth, he said. I do not doubt you love your sister something great, but you must be patient. Time is on your side. If you stay here and grow stronger, a time will come when you can help her. So Marth stayed in Talus, protected by its kind people, and the years went by.
This is Melodus saying that, I think?
I think so. It's a bit weirdly written. Like, it jumps from quote...
I too remember that FE1 LP where the guy just pops out of nowhere.
He's like, who are you? Who are you again? Oh no! So, in case you, like, do not know, this is a remake of the very...
Lost the village, reset.
Ah, fuck, man. Rankings destroyed. So, hey, Shida. I love Shida's art in this game. She looks fine. Sire, you're a visitor from the castle. It's Princess Shida. Shida, what is it? You look white as a sheet. Marthipan! Come quickly, it's the castle! Gulder's pirates attacked from out of nowhere! They stormed the gates and cut down everyone in their path. I fear for my father's life! Steady, Shida. She's not a horse. You did well to
Why are you calling her Shida? There's no H in there.
I'm sorry, but I'm stuck with the old... Like, I played this game on the cartridge. I played Fire Emblem 3 on the cartridge before I played Shadow Dragon, and we called her Shida. What do you call her?
Sida.
Sida.
Because Donon told me to. And Donon is expert on all things Japanese.
Sida. Yeah, I guess. Okay, Sida. Altea's bravest knights aren't about to hand Talus to that flock of seafowl. Come, we'll make for the castle now. And that's all the introduction you get.
Yep, that's all you need too.
This game is so fast. Alright, so as I was saying, this is a remake of Fire Emblem 1, in case you didn't know. And I actually played Fire Emblem 3, which is a remake of Fire Emblem 1. So I guess this makes it a remake of a remake. Yep, it's a remake of a remake. So,
remake.
So, classic Mecha style, we're gonna go through the units and we're gonna review them 1 to 5 stars, because you guys seem to really like that in Fire Emblem 7. So, yeah, starting with Marth. He's the main character right here, and he's alright. Marth, you kind of forced to deploy him at every single chapter. He has decent stats, however, he is footlocked, and unlike the other units in this game, he cannot reclass, so he's stuck as a lord. Still, he's not the worst lord in the series, in my opinion. He's got his rapier, which is effective against knights and horses, and he's an alright unit. I usually give him the boots, because every single map in this game is a throne seize. He has really high growth rates on average, as you might expect. He turns out pretty alright, but he can't promote though. So to make up for that, he can level to 30 instead of 20. So he never gets like promotional bonuses or a class change, sadly. So he's kind of locked with swords the entire way, which kind of sucks a bit. But still, I rate Marth a 3 out of 5 stars. He's a decent lord, you have to field him. And we're already off to a great start. Okay, Mecha, you give your thoughts on Marth.
Yeah, so we got this sword-locked guy right here. Always has weapon triangle disadvantage against like every lance enemy in this game, which is 80% of them. And then he can't promote, and he can't get a mount, and he's force deployed. Well, I guess that's okay. And he's always got to go to these villages and these seas things, so he's kind of limited on where you want him to go, unless you want to take like 30 turns. So I guess it doesn't matter because it's Mangs we're talking about.
Hey.
But I don't know, to me it sounds like a guy that doesn't promote, doesn't get any other weapons, doesn't get a mount, and always faces weapon triangle. That sounds really bad to me. Then you went like 3 stars, I'm like, what? I'd say Marth is more like a 2-star unit, if not, I wouldn't say it's a 1-star unit. Like he has good growth, but his bases are actually really bad. He gets 2-shot by everything and he always gets countered. That's really, really annoying. He never doubles in hard 5 either.
Lovely.
So that's a problem. Yeah, I mean, if you forge his rapier, he can actually do decent damage against all the knights and armors, but it's like the least effective weapon in the game to forge, if you catch my drift, and it's pretty expensive too.
All right.
So I don't really like Marth a whole lot.
What do you rate him?
I think I said 2 stars.
2 stars, sounds nice. Let us continue with the next unit on our roster. It's everyone's favorite little blue Pegasus knight. It is the CAEDA. And I'm sorry, I don't think I can do this. She's always been Shida for me. I'm not sure if I can let it go. It's like Dogan Draug. I'm gonna call him Doga. I'm sorry. Anyway, Shida right here. She's great. She's absolutely fantastic. Easily one of my favorite units in this game. Not only is she super useful because she comes on a flying steed and she has really good bases and is probably one of the only characters you have in this game that will reliably double even on hard 5. But she has her own personal weapon, the Wing Spear, which is ridiculously good, especially when forged, considering, like, I think, what, 90% of the bosses in this game is, like, either a Cavalier, Paladin, Armor Knight, or General, or something along those lines. So she does, like, one of your best boss killers ever. The only thing that holds her a little bit back is her icky 20% strength growth, but that doesn't matter when she has effective damage. You can forge the Wing Spear and she pretty much one-shots everything in the game. 85% speed growth ensures that she will keep doubling, even in the endgame. And while she is a little bit frail, I mean, just try to keep her out of range of enemies. Of course, archers will one-shot her, so will mostly anything else that comes in her way, but she's actually going to be pretty fucking pivotal on this map. I give Shida 5 out of 5 stars. Easily one of the best units in Shadow Dragon. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the best unit in the game by far. As you said, the best boss killer possible. Wing Spear is really good when forged. I think she's everything that Marth wishes he could be. Other than female, I guess. I mean,
you never know. You never know what Marth wants.
So, the thing about CAEDA is she outranges enemies that she has effective damage on, or she can at least sit at a spot where she can attack next turn from a really good position. So that makes her really flexible. Flying alone is, of course, a really big perk, even in a game where you cannot rescue, because there's a lot of terrain that you can occupy. What else is really good about CAEDA? Her promotion to Draco Knight is really good for her because it fixes all of her weaknesses. As you said, her strength is an issue and her durability can be a problem. Both of those get huge boosts whenever she promotes. I don't remember exactly how much, but I do know they're pretty big. And as you said, she doubles a lot. But the thing about Shadow Dragon also is you want to kill enemies with forged effective weapons a lot, so you don't take these huge counter damage. And CAEDA is really good at that if you forge her Wing Spear to like +4 or +5. Whereas Marth, even if you do like +6 rapier, he just can't do it. So that's what makes CAEDA so much more effective than he and really any other unit in the game. The Wing Spear is also really accurate, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really good. Also, her base durability, I actually don't think is very bad. 7 defense is really good for a level 1 unit.
So what do you rate her?
5 stars, easily.
Yeah, well, we agree on something. That's good. Anyway, speaking of good units, here is JAGEN the Paladin. JAGEN, of course, the original JAGEN. He spawned the entire archetype. And, he's pretty much what you'd expect. Really good basis for his join time. Comes with a Silver Lance, which is going to be infinitely useful in this map. And, yeah, he's just great. I mean, his growth rates aren't high, but as Mecha would say, growth rates don't matter. And JAGEN's usefulness is further increased by the fact that he can reclass, particularly to a Draco Knight, once you get access to that, which puts him on a flying mount and gives him access, which is really, really good. So he will, of course, drop off eventually, but I still rate him 5 out of 5 stars because he is so useful in the first 4 or 5 chapters of this game, which are incredibly hard on hard 5.
Yes, even like early game, yeah, you do need a crush like JAGEN to do a lot of reliable damage with the Silver Lance, of course. And when he can reclass the Draco Knight, he can also manipulate the weapon triangle even better than he already could. And of course, Paladin and Draco Knight are just great classes to have access to, especially when you have B lances, and that way you can use the Silver Lance. But I think beyond chapter 5 or so, JAGEN remains useful for almost the entire game thanks to forged effective weaponry. I think because of that, he can still contribute to like taking out a group of Cavaliers just by trading around the Rider's Bane, a forced one. which is the horse slayer for this game. So yeah, I agree with a 5 out of 5 rating for JAGEN. I think CAEDA is overall a little better, but not enough to like lessen the amount of stars he gets. Really good unit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we should do 10 stars, but I just like 5 better.
I told you, like, at the start of the FE7 LP, I told you to do 10, like, out of 10 ratings, but you were like, no, I like my 5-star system.
It's a better one. Easier to animate. Anyway, alright, so let's move on to the 2 Cavaliers, starting with ABEL. So ABEL and Kain, they come in pairs. They're pretty similar in this game, although I find ABEL to be the better one, since ABEL starts with a lance rank high enough to use Javelin, whereas Kain starts with a higher sword rank, so he can't use Javelins at base. But ABEL's pretty alright. I mean, he's a very good... I don't want to call him a social knight, because that's what I'm used to, but I know it's a Cavalier. You know, he's pretty decent growth rates in all areas. There's really nothing bad about him. Good movements, good bases, good growths. He starts out good, he ends up good. I rate him a 4 out of 5 stars because he's not like Shida or JAGEN tier, but he is very useful in his own right, and I don't think giving a Cavalier anything below a 4 out of 5 stars does them justice, because they are easily one of the best classes in the game by far, particularly when they promote the Paladins.
Yeah, you can go ahead and do Kain if you want, because my thoughts on them are pretty similar, so you might as well rate them both at once, right?
Right, okay, Kain's completely the same. I mean, the only difference between ABEL and Kain in this game, except for the weapon ranks, is that Kain has slightly less strength and hit points, but he has an 80% luck growth as opposed to ABEL's 25% luck growth. And that is pretty much, you know, aside from small variances in bases, they are literally the same units. So yeah, I also rate Kain 4 out of 5 stars.
Yeah. I definitely agree. ABEL is better than Kain by actually a significant amount. I'm not sure if it's enough for like an entire star rating, but I do think I like ABEL at like 4 stars and Kain more closer to a 3-star. And the reason I say this is, well, the lance rank is really the big difference here. Not just because ABEL gets to avoid counters with the Javelin, but also because it puts him an entire rank closer to C, which lets him use Rider's Bane. That's a really big thing because, as I said, with like JAGEN and CAEDA, effective weaponry is so important in this game, and if you can't use it, and Kain will never be able to use the Rider's Bane until much later, and it's a huge pain to get him there to begin with. Yeah. So that's why I think that's important. And also the point of speed that ABEL has at base over Kain is really significant. It actually gets Kain doubled by some enemies, including, I think, the Chapter 1 boss. And that's really, really annoying to deal with, and hard to fix if you don't get lucky with the speed growth. Yeah. And ABEL has the better strength growth anyway. And the speed is similar. Yeah, the speed growth is the same from what I can see, unless your notes are wrong.
No, they're the same.
So yeah, that's why I like ABEL a lot better.
Right. Alright, then, of course, we have everyone's favorite armor knight. It's the Doga! Doga!
Choke this point.
He will choke this point. Hahaha, fresh beam. Doga's your first armor knight, and while I don't like armor knights, I find that, you know, Doga does definitely serve his purpose pretty useful in the first few chapters, because you are actually in need of someone who can take a few hits, and Doga definitely can take a few hits. The only problem is he suffers weapon triangle disadvantage from a lot of the axe-wielding enemies of the first chapters. He was originally actually a sword armor knight in the first games, but they changed him to a lance armor knight in the later ones, which kind of screwed him over.
He could use swords in the original, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he was a sword armor knight in the first game. Yeah, you know, Doga's growth rates are pretty shit. I mean, 20% strength growth, lol. Even his defense growth of 30% isn't fantastic, but he comes with base 11 defense, so he's pretty tough. I think he can take like 4 hits or something in this chapter on hard 5, which is definitely very useful, because you do, as I said, you do need someone who can take a bit of punishments when you face the sea of pirates that we're about to take on. So I give Doga a 3 out of 5 stars. He's alright, not fantastic, but he serves his purpose well enough.
Yeah. And just for clarification, in the original, Armor Knights all could use swords and lances, and Doga could use both, of course. Yeah, I just looked it up in FE1.
Oh.
So that's why you could use swords, and that was really nice. I mean, there was no weapon triangle back then, but it's nice to be able to use lighter weapons, I guess. I haven't studied FE1 in depth, so I won't go too far.
No, you're right.
As far as this game goes, Doga is funny, because as an Armor Knight, he's really good for this chapter, because he's your second most durable unit. And he can dish out some punishment and also use javelins. So I think in a way that makes him better than Kain, which is hilarious when you think about it. But then from chapter 2 and onwards, he gets doubled by all the axe enemies, and suddenly he gets 1 round KO'd because they also get more strength. So he becomes much less useful from there on out. The funny thing about Doga is that in order for that Armor Knight's base speed to be 3, they actually had to give him a really high personal base speed. And that means that if you reclass him to like a pirate or a mercenary or whatever the hell you can make him, or like a hunter, he gets insane speed, and his defense also drops like 1,000,000 points. So it becomes a very different unit when you reclass him.
Ah, I've heard
and
this
in this
actually.
game, it doesn't... Sorry?
I've heard about this actually. People say that
Yeah.
you can reclass him to a dark mage, and he actually turns into sort of like a glass cannon.
Yeah, he becomes really fast and really frail, and I think that's really funny in FE12 because he has these supports that talk about how durable he is with my unit or something. But if you reclass him to like anything but an armor knight, he is anything but that.
Yeah, I mean,
but anyway,
he only got a really strong armor, but the guy underneath the armor is weak as hell.
Yeah, it's really unlike the FE1 LP where he just goes, Doga's not invincible because of his armor, or Doga's invincible because he's Doga.
Oh god, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I
so
love
much.
that too.
It's so
So
good.
anyway, Doga, as far as growth units go, I think Kain and Abel are like already scraping the bare minimum of what you need to be if you want to be a good unit in a growth playthrough, or rather in a, if you're trying to raise a unit, they're like the minimum of what you need to be, because this game isn't very kind to growth units because of the way EXP is gained and the way that chapters work, especially if you warp skip it. I won't go into detail, but basically I don't really like Doga much as a unit beyond the first chapter or so. Also, reclassing changes his weapon rank to like an E rank no matter what he does, so that kind of sucks. And building weapon rank is also really hard in this game. So I'd say Doga is like 2 out of 5 or something.
Alright.
Not that great of a unit, but really fun.
Alright, so I do believe we reviewed every single unit. I don't think there's any other like viable units left. Do you?
No,
did
there's
we-
no viable units
Did we
left. Let's
forget?
go.
We didn't forget about anyone, did we?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't. Oh, who's this guy? Oh, Gordon.
I don't know.
Oh, look.
That's just a generic archer. That's fine.
Ah, okay. Anyway, enough jokes. But Marth. So yeah, Gordon right here. I have a weird relationship with Gordon. I actually like him a lot.
5 points!
Mostly just because of the anime. He's hilarious in the fucking anime. He's the best character ever. As a unit, he sucks. He's an archer. 1 out of 5 stars. Terrible unit.
Nuts!
I mean, but there's nothing to say about him really. He's just bad.
I can think of a few things, but go ahead.
I mean, you need chip damage here because the pirates are tough, so he definitely serves his purpose. But yeah, I don't like Gordon. I mean, terrible. Archers luck to 2 range, but I guess aside from that, he has some uses. It's just I don't know how to rank archers anything above a 1 out of 5 stars. But maybe you can enlighten me, Mecca.
So in chapter 1 he's actually really good because his ranged weapon is like the best for everyone, because everyone is throwing these javelins at like 50 hit or 60 hit or something.
Yeah.
And he just comes in with a steel bow and he does more damage at more accurate hit rates. So that makes him a really good unit for chapter 1. But beyond that, yeah, he has the same problem as usual where his stats are shit, and he has 5 movement, and he actually gets really bad terrain penalties too, which is just rubbing salt in the wound to an extreme extent. So Gordon obviously isn't very good, and you also recruit like much better archers and hunters and snipers later on to kind of obsolete him. Yes, like George. I will say that Gordon is like a pretty good unit in like FE3 book 2 or something, but like if I'm talking about that game while reviewing him in Shadow Dragon, you'd know that he's got a problem in this game. So yeah, 1 out of 5 seems pretty good.
But more!
All right.
2 out of 5 maybe for his early game utility, because there's units in this game that don't even have that.
Alright, so we're done talking about the characters, like for 20 minutes, Manx and Mecha
That
stuff.
only took like 10 minutes, yeah,
All
Jesus Christ.
So, anyway, I'm going to turn off some grid. I do like grid, and I do like to turn on the map grid a little bit. There we go.
Does that help with the color blindness or
yes,
whatever?
Yes, grips. I'm very, very grateful to any game that has a grid. So, this map is really tough. The boss is ridiculous. We'll tackle him when we get to him. Gasak, the original Gasak, ladies and gentlemen. Ugh, this guy is... Luckily, he doesn't have a hand axe, but don't think he's going to be easy to take down despite all that. So I actually have a bit of a strategy for this this map. Shut up. First thing we'll do is we'll need to go and get the money, because peasants love paying nobles money. That's how Fire Emblem works.
Money is important.
Prince Marth, 'tis good you stopped by. The villagers have collected 10,000 gold pieces.
Tributes.
Tribute. Jagen, torch. If it pleases you, use the money to arm your warriors and rid our lands of those pirates. Yeah, just casually handing him over 10,000 gold. So I'm going to be ignoring this thief for the most part, but I'm going to be poking him a bit with Sheeta. If you're lucky, Sheeta can actually crit here, but she didn't.
This is a horrible use of a wing spear.
I guess, but you know, it will all become clear.
I'm gonna ignore this guy except for like using one of my personal most important weapons in the game, just to chip on it. Even though this thief has like can just be killed on turn 2 for free with
All right,
like
so
or whoever.
Anyway, we'll visit the houses as well, because they're fun. A knight belongs on the front lines, if you ask me. Oh!
I like how he's telling a knight.
That thick armor can take a lot of abuse, so they should be up on the front, protecting the other units.
This man has not played Hard 5 beyond chapter 1, you can tell.
Alright, and we'll visit this house. I heard you need a high weapon level to wield the strongest weapons. Another thing, keep your flash well away from those enemy archers. Get it? I visit the house with the proper people. So many people probably think that, you know, oh, you want to equip a sword because the sword has weapon triangle advantage against pirates. No, keep the lance on you because you need to do a lot of, like, this is at least how I tackle this map. You need to use Dragon to deal a lot of damage with the silver lance. He almost kills them with the silver lance. You can also miss, of course, but you need to deal this damage to the pirates in order to take them down, and you need to kill them fast, because they are tough, and if you do not kill them quickly, they are going to swarm your units so quickly, and you are going to die, because I think that, like, I think Kain and ABEL can both take, like, 2 hits each. I think Gordon gets...
Might be 1.
Maybe 1. I think Gordon gets 1 rounded by some of these guys. Dorga can take, like...
They have 8 speed, or if he's using the steel bow, then yeah. He gets wrecked.
However, what I'm going to do right here is I'm actually going to place Sheeta right here. And
okay, done.
Hey, this is a strategy I also came up with on my own before watching your LP. I promise. I did. Anyway, so as you said, Gordon is like 1 damage away from killing this guy. But what I think I'm actually going to do is I'm going to just use my Silver Lance to kill this guy. Actually, no, I'm going to use my Iron Sword, I think. I don't know. I thought I had a
You need to equip your Silver Lance.
But now I'm going to actually trade the Silver Lance away, because then I'm done killing that pirate, and that puts a lot of pressure off. Some of these guys are going to run after Sheeta, so I can deal with the other ones. These 2 are also going to make their way over there eventually. But you need to kill a lot of pirates before they show up. It's really important to do that. Anyway, 5 points!
5 points!
6.
Oh.
Math is hard. I know, even when it's like written in front of you.
I was referencing the manga. Every time Gordon hits something, he says 5 points.
5 points.
Yeah. Now, he only does it once, but it's funny.
Every time. Okay.
You know how the memes work. All right. So.
You clearly don't.
So I think this guy is gonna run for. I'm going to tackle him with Kain, if Kain can kill him. There we go. And then I'm just going to chip them 1 by 1 as they show up. Now, I'm not sure if I should visit the armory to buy some gear. Do you have any recommendations?
Javelins.
All right.
Many javelins.
I don't think I can do it now, though. Actually, what I can do is I can throw a javelin at this thief.
You can throw a thief.
Oh, come on. Yeah, javelins are not very reliable, I'm afraid. I do love the enemy range thing here, though. It's great.
Quality of life.
Yeah, I love it. And I don't know if I should attack. Normally I hit with the javelin.
Probably nearly 1 round to Marth.
Yeah. Normally I hit this guy with the javelin. I can kill him with Marth. But I guess we'll just do this for now. Actually, we can visit the last house. Villagers will keep the gate open for Prince Marth, but he must be quick. If the thief reaches a village before the prince does, there may not be any village left to visit.
The right people.
The right people. So Sheeta needs to not crit here. Okay, good. If she crits here, she dies.
Well, that's 3 more uses down the drain. Well played.
I mean, could I? But look. So
look, it's pirates.
Yeah. So Sheeta's job from the rest of this point is simply just to, you know, run back and forth and kite these pirates around while we deal with the rest of them. We can like maybe pull 1 or 2 up, but ideally we don't want. We want to deal with these pirates on their own, because they're strong. And also, keep in mind that when they're on the ocean tiles, they get 20 avoid, which is really stupid. We should probably talk a little bit about the different formula mecha. So, maybe you can explain to the audience why hit rates are so high in Shadow Dragon, because that seems to put a lot of people off.
Okay, so I don't know all the formulas at the top of my head, but I do know that speed only gives 1 point of avoid in this game.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You don't need to recite the formula, but this is something that a lot of people really react to with Shadow Dragon, because avoidance seems to be low on both sides, which is nice for the player, but, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think weapon rank also has a really big influence on hit rates. I'll spare you the details, but basically the higher your weapon rank, whenever you're in battle and you're not facing weapon triangle disadvantage, your hit rates will be a bit better if you're using like an axe or a lance or a bow. Swords don't get a hit boost, but they get like an attack boost. Yeah. Generally, weapon rank is just much more important in Shadow Dragon than it has been in like any previous game so far, I believe.
Do you think...
I think weapon hit rates in general, I think, are a little bit higher as well, but don't quote me on that.
Seems to be the case. Do you think we should take a hit on this guy on enemy face with Jagen, or do you think it's just unnecessary?
As long as he doesn't get on an ocean tile while doing it, I think
he will. Fine. He will get on an ocean tile. That's why I'm asking.
Then your hit rates is probably going to be shit, and there's no point.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, so I'm going to just equip the sword because I don't want to waste the silver lance. Then we're going to go back a little bit, and I think this is okay. Yeah, I think this is fine. This is fine. Now the enemy hunter is also going to make his way over to us eventually. But what I can do now with Sheeta is I can do this. She's really good in this regard. I really like Sheeta.
Really good at not fighting.
Yeah. So I think what I should do here, you need to be super careful here because, as I said, these pirates are gonna fuck you over. And well, JAGEN has decent hit rates here, but you see they do 6, 12, 80. I can take 4 hits. So
You can also get crit, by the way, and enemies love attacking JAGEN because they have like 1% crit on him.
yeah. So I think what I should do here is I should probably just back up a little bit and let JAGEN do some damage. Don't you think that's a good idea?
Yeah, either that or just keep him on the fort with the iron sword, and he'll just probably not take much damage.
Yeah, it's just that I don't want this guy to start rushing up as well. So I think I'm going to go back a little bit with Gordon.
Walking backwards, my favorite strategy.
Yep. And we're going to be leaving Marth here. I'm just going to check out the range of this guy. He can attack over here. Leave Marth here. You do need to be a little bit careful here. We can leave ABEL right here. We can put Kane over here. And then Doga over here. I think that
Interesting choices.
yeah, I know. But it's the best I got for now. I mean, this is a hard map, and you can really get fucked
The best
over.
you can do in like 5 seconds of thinking.
I mean, I've been playing this map a lot. It's just, you know, this is the strategy that I found personally works out the best for me. Whenever I try to overextend on this map, I just end up dying. And I would like the Mang's fail counter to not exceed 100 in this LP. You know?
I mean, are you gonna start counting from scratch?
I mean, yeah, I am. But all right.
Cheater.